1,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel today. Several British and French lifeboats have had to be called in to help border patrol vessels on both sides of the Channel to deal with the huge numbers crossing. Well, joining us now is GB News Home and Security editor Mark White, who has some more of that breaking news for us. Mark, what can you tell us?
Well, another grim milestone reached, but this will be very difficult for the Prime Minister and for the Home Secretary, knowing that 1,000 a day crossing the English Channel has been reached so early in the year. Later in the summer, when we get the real flat calm conditions, then on certain days you could potentially get 1,000 a day crossing. But to get that so early in the year is incredible, really, and it just goes to show what a significant crisis this is and how all attempts at smashing the gangs thus far are not working. You're looking at shots there of one of the lifeboats, that is the Dungeness lifeboat, called in to assist today because all of the Border Force patrol vessels, all of the French patrol vessels were tied up. They were overwhelmed dealing with multiple migrant boat sightings. So the RNLI in the UK side of the Channel and French lifeboats had to be called out to assist. 3 lifeboats on the French side, 2 on the UK side, as they dealt with boat after boat. And the latest count we have is well over 1,000 migrants who have crossed today, potentially up around 1,100. Now that will take the total for the year, if it's 1,100, to 14,700, more than 42% up on where we were last year. And in fact, this is a record since the Channel migrant crisis began in 2018. And it looks as though we are on course for a record year, a year that will even surpass the 45, almost 46,000 migrants who crossed in 2022 during that record year. We're well ahead of that at the moment. If that continues, and there's no reason to imagine that it won't continue with the same kind of ferocity that it has so far in the second half of the year, then we really are looking at a very worrying situation. Just look at those pictures. You are seeing there 2 Border Force vessels and a lifeboat at Dover Harbour queuing up to unload the migrants that they picked up from the Channel. Our producer in Kent told us that he saw back-to-back arrivals. That is the proof there on your screen, the confirmation of these vessels all coming in, unloading migrant after migrant. Now, of course, taken first of all to the processing centre at Dover Harbour and then on to the holding and processing centre at Milestone in Kent, where they're supposed to be held for 1-2 days maximum. But of course, they've got to find them places in the likes of hotel accommodation or off into local authority accommodation somewhere around the country. And that might take a while. As we get into the summer proper, when you have back-to-back days where very significant numbers are crossing the Channel, then you're going to see it stacking up at Milestone. Then you're going to see a real sort of bottleneck in terms of trying to get these migrants out to accommodation, if there are accommodation areas available for them.
Unbelievable. I don't get it. Why, just very briefly, Mark, because I'm running out of time, why were they not pushed back to France or directed to France? Why were they all... I mean, if the French authorities were helping and the British authorities were working together, why were they then immediately just brought towards the UK instead of going back to where they have come from?
Well, look, this is one of the most controversial and infuriating elements around the small boats crisis. As soon as these boats hit the water, the French will intervene if the boat gets into trouble and the migrants on board won't help. If they don't,